Today, we're going to talk to the Amazon influencer dynamic duo, Yana and Lazar, who's going to give us a sneak peek of their sale and scale presentations on building teams and expanding to international marketplaces. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the Amazon or Walmart world. And from the other side of the world, for the first time together, I think as a married couple, we've got Yana and Lazar. Now, hold on. Let me see if I got this right. Chastita na Venciano.
Oh, you're good.
There we go. Yes. All right. I'm trying out for Yana's translation company there, so I can join as an employee, just in case this Helium 10 thing doesn't work out. But anyways, congratulations on your wedding, and you guys are like the first couple of Amazon. The celebrity married couple now. Paparazzi following you everywhere. But anyways, we're not here to talk too much about that, but let's talk a little bit about it. You guys are like the power couple, the power couple influencer couple here in the Amazon world. Guys, both of them have been on the podcast before, so please go back and check out their origin stories. But where in the world are you guys these days?
We're in Belgrade, believe it or not. We are back home, and we are staying here until end of June. So if anyone wants to come and visit,
which I have done, and yes, you took me to an amazing restaurant there in the midst of those trees there. I remember, what was that restaurant called? It was great.
Yeah, it's called Orashat, basically hazelnut. That's what it's called.
Oh, that was an amazing restaurant. Lazar couldn't make it that day. He had a bachelor's party, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I went to the mountains with a bunch of friends. One of my friends was getting married.
Now, did you guys get married there in Belgrade?
Yeah, it was actually a little bit outside of Belgrade. It was at this huge, amazing property, and we had an outdoor wedding. So it was really nice, and it was basically outside of Belgrade. It was like maybe 35 minutes by car, which a lot of people disapproved of, but once they saw the property, they thought it was amazing. So I was really happy that everyone had a great time.
Now between like wedding prep, the actual wedding, extended honeymoon, like kind of how long were you both away from, your day-to-day operations of your companies?
Yeah, well, to be honest, like Yana was the mastermind behind the wedding, so I was like working all the time, and like I didn't make a lot of decisions, to be honest, but Yana did such a great job. Like my wedding would suck if I would organize it, but like Yana was like on the top of her game, and like it was amazing. I loved every moment of it, and she was really good at it.
Thank you so much. And to answer your question, Bradley, I was away from work from, let's say, beginning of June till, I would say, mid-October.
Yana, how much did you pay Bradley to ask this question?
But my point is like,
comment.
You were both of you guys were able to dedicate time and be away a little bit. And it's not like your company's, crumbled to pieces. So why is that? Because not everybody has agencies or things like that in the Amazon world, but it's the same thing if somebody's an Amazon seller. I think there's a lot of Amazon sellers. It doesn't matter the size. I don't care if you're an 8-figure seller or a brand new seller. They think, oh my goodness, I take one day off, my business is going to be crumbling down. So why didn't that happen with you guys?
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, it all comes down to your procedures within the company and the layers of those procedures, the SOPs and KPIs and all of that you teach your team. And then I have a team of about 80 people. And then we've grown that gradually, fast but gradually. It was not like an overnight, success, or things did not get out of hand because of those procedures. And this is something which is absolutely necessary to to have it all figured out within your company, because then you can leave the company and you can come back and you still will have the company did not crumble to pieces, as you said. So that's very important, to learn how to delegate, number one, and to build very, very good procedures. I think that those two are the ones that make the most importance in my case. But Lazar is an expert on building procedures and teams and all of that. So he helped me a lot with, like, the things I've been struggling with, as he has like a really big team, and he's actually speaking about building teams on Sell and Scale, because that's one of the bottlenecks that I've seen that a lot of sellers and smaller agencies have. Everyone can build a team up to like 10, 15 people, but then they cannot scale above that number, and then they just go and build another company instead of like focusing on scaling that one company that you have and growing their revenue. So this is where I see that the major problems are. And I love Lazar to talk more about that, because I think it's very important.
Yeah, like basically every company's problem is if the owner is the smartest one in the company. Like my company would have like huge issue if I was the smartest one. Like, it's really important to hire right group of people that are like know what they're doing in like their field of work. And also it's all about abbreviations, like OKRs, KPIs, SOPs, and that kind of stuff. So it's really important to make sure that you have like really nice structure of the company, that everybody knows how to do their stuff. It's really important to like learn how to delegate as well, because it's not just like to tell somebody do this or do that. You need to explain like the reason why you need something to be done, and like what's going to be the goal, and like what's the best goal that can happen if they do the task, and like what's the worst case scenario if they don't manage to do the task, and that kind of stuff. So basically we managed to like granulate the company. Like, our team is pretty big. It's 150-ish people at this point, and like we're all based in Belgrade, Serbia. We're expanding now to countries around Serbia at this point. Like, we're in the process of doing that. So for that kind of stuff, like, you have combination of people that are working remotely, that are working from the office. You're taking like best parts of like both sides, So it's really important to have people that you can rely on, that you're going to be absolutely sure that they're going to understand the task first of all, and then to do everything correctly.
Okay, so like Yana said, that's the topic you'll be speaking on at Sell and Scale. I'm going to ask you a little bit about that, but just to kind of show that, hey, Lazar definitely, knows what he's talking about. He, while he was busy with things, last year I was like, I wanted somebody to come on the podcast to talk about TikTok, marketing and things. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to reach out to somebody in his team. And so I reached out to Tamara, and she came on the podcast, and, like Lazar didn't even know, but like, he trained his team so well that he has now people who can come on and go on different podcasts and things. And actually, just to give her a shout out, it was her I reached out to this morning to ask how to say that in Serbian. So she's the one who taught me that.
Wow.
But
I was expecting you were going to pronounce her last name, but you always go.
No. There's no way I could. Thank goodness she has an easy first name there. Not as easy as Yana though. That's the very easy to remember. There's like only a few. There's like a few Serbian woman names I know. So there's Yana and there's Milica. I know, like, for some reason I know multiple Milicas around. There's also like a famous Serbian basketball player. His wife is named Milica. Like, I don't know if that's Jokic or one of those guys that their wife is named that too. So I don't know why Milica comes up. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Serbian names. Let's go back to Lazar still. So you're talking about that at Sell and Scale. So I don't want you giving away your whole entire presentation, but building teams and SOPs and things like that is not exactly something that we always talk about in podcast or in Amazon conference. So maybe you can just give like a sneak peek of the value of what you're going to be talking about at Sell and Scale on this subject, here on the podcast today.
Yeah, so basically that kind of stuff is usually really boring to listen, to be honest, but like it's so valuable for the company to like understand the goals, to understand procedures, how to do stuff, how to do right hiring, like how to create like good hiring process. Like, is it better to have somebody that is really good at what they're doing and like not to be the right mentality for your team, or is it better to have somebody that is right mentality and like eager to learn on the other end, and that kind of stuff? Like, to see the importance of like people usually, sellers and like business owners usually think of their business as like their child, and like they are not really willing to give that opportunity to manage it on their own to somebody else. But it's such an important thing to do, because that's the only way to grow. Like, if you micromanage everybody, you're gonna end up messing up with morale of the team, and like the opportunities and everything. And like when somebody messes up, like, it's normal to make mistakes and that kind of stuff. Like, we have um, like do you want your team members to be able to come up with cool new ideas or not? Like, not all of the ideas are going to be really good, and like, especially at the beginning when you hire them, like situations like how to manage those situations when somebody comes to you with like really bad idea, but you don't want to kill the energy of that person. You want them to continue, but like go into direction that you would prefer, and that kind of stuff. Also, the importance of OKRs, the importance of KPIs, SOPs, and like how to make them not too complicated, so everybody would understand their part, like, and like the living organism that is your company, and like how you can get the best out of it. Because like all of the business owners usually want to go deep dive and micromanage all of this stuff. I know that they know the best, but like that way they're not going to be able to scale, because they're going to be occupied too much about like some pretty basic stuff. Like, did you buy like 10 pencils that are $1, or like 10 pencils that are for like $10 each, and that kind of stuff, like, rather than like focusing on the important stuff on the business. Like, only when you're super small you want to focus on like really small stuff. Like, it's important to make sure that your finances are okay when you're small, but as you grow you want to make sure that the marketing is good, and like what was the living cycle of business owner inside of the company, and like how not to get into business owner trap. That is like, what would happen if you don't show up at work for like 3 months? Like, would that business work? Would it be sustainable or not? And like, I know that a lot of people are interested in selling their businesses, and one of the things that big aggregators and big companies ask is usually, do you go with the company, to the business owner? And that's basically because of that trap. And like, I know that a lot of sellers want to sell their business and a business at some point, and it's really important to make sure that that business is sustainable without them. So that's something that is really important to know, and how to structure and build everything in a manner that is going to be self-sustainable, and not only sustainable but to grow over time.
Yeah, I think this is super important that sellers are going to get a lot of out of your session, because it's so important. But like you said, since it's not that sexy of a subject, a lot of people try and avoid it, but then they pay in the long run because they're not prepared for this kind of thing. So just one last question for you on this subject is, like you just said, most of your employees or all of your employees are there based locally in Belgrade, and I know you have like a couple of offices there. Now, I know you've helped, other companies hire you to help with their building the team. And there are some companies who have hired you to build like a remote team. When do you know, hey, I need to hire, whether it's one person I'm hiring, my first hire, or I'm trying to build a team of 10 people, how do I know if it's better? I need them to be local so that I can see them face to face in an office I'm going to rent. Or, it's okay that one is in Pakistan, one is in Niš. By the way, that's my favorite city in Serbia. Sorry, Belgrade, but in Niš, and somebody in the Philippines and somebody in Florida, whatever. How do I know which one is which route is for me?
Well, definitely, I would suggest to like see all of the like both sides like have like pros and cons, and like definitely having team inside of the office is way better than to have just like bunch of people working remotely for like different places, because speed of exchanging information, speed of like learning new stuff and that kind of stuff is important to happen in the office, because that way is gonna happen faster, and like they're gonna see the example of others. And also when you have a team of 10 people, let's say, and if they cannot see each other, you're gonna end up like somebody that is going to be like frustrated because of the problem that they're having, and none of the other team members are going to understand the amount of stress that that person is having. And instead of like having all 10 of them working from the same office, when you see when all of them are going to see like the one person is having a problem, like they would jump and like try to solve the problem together. And like building a company culture is way easier that way. But there are also benefits of working remotely as well, because you have options to hire better talent across the world, because that way you're not gonna hire somebody just because they're available at that certain like place in the world. So like there are both sides of the coin, like of the metal, like so it really depends on like the size of the company, current struggles, and so on. Like we work with a lot of aggregators, with like 3 or 4 of them, and we're building teams for them, also for some pretty big 9-figure sellers. And we're currently expanding into working with VC funds as well, and like we're like expanding in that direction. Also, the company got some new names in it. I'm not going to share them yet. I know that a lot of people know them from some other businesses that they build, and like there some of them are like even like $1 billion businesses. So like it's pretty interesting adventure for us. And like as I said, like for them it's working pretty well to work from the office, just because like it's growing that way faster, and like you would learn more as an employee that is working from the office rather than working remotely. So it really depends from one case to another. Definitely there are massive benefits on both ends.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that presentation. I know you're not going to be any strange. It's not going to be your first time speaking in front of thousands of people. You've been on some of the biggest stages lately, like Affiliate World. I saw you there. I was like, well, isn't that Gary V? When I saw you, I was like, we have Gary V in Sell and Scale, but you've been crushing it lately. Now, Yana, what about you? What subject are you talking about at Sell and Scale?
Unlocking new opportunities in international markets. So I'll basically, but I also know that I'm gonna speak 2 days. So I suppose that one day is gonna be more of like hands-on how to beat your competitors. We've been recently testing out some new strategies and new things, and we've got some great results. So I would definitely love to show sellers how they could beat their competitors in every single niche.
Okay.
What we found out is that basically
Every single niche.
Yeah,
And
I was thinking the same thing.
category niche, yes, niche, niche.
Okay. No. I say niche, but then I never realized that it's almost the same word as my favorite city.
Niche.
So,
Oh yeah, I didn't
yeah,
niche.
yeah,
Niche.
yeah.
God.
Too
So
many
basically-
Serbian references here. People are having no idea what we're talking about today.
I'm gonna leave like a link to the Serbian vocab so you can understand this episode.
There we go. Now about the topic of international. So what Lazar gave us something that he's going to talk about. Like what's one tip that you're going to talk about that you could share without giving away
Right.
too much information.
So yeah, I'm gonna talk about like how to revive a product maybe that's not doing great on one marketplace, and to how to potentially make it a bestseller on another marketplace, and how to find hidden products that are doing amazingly well on other marketplaces outside of the US that you don't know about. That's going to be the first topic. It's going to be a lot of like very interesting information. I have never shared this before. And the second talk is going to be more of a like like a workshop type of thing where I'm going to be sharing like how to basically optimize and scale your content so you beat the competitors no matter how big they are. Because from what I've learned, working with like thousands of sellers the last 3 years, is that a lot of big sellers in the US, they don't know what they're doing on the national marketplaces, and they don't treat content the same way as they do if it was written in English. And that's why there's 100%, I can 100% be sure that you can find a hole where you can, fit some of the keywords in and you can beat them, like the title, bullets, description, images, whatever. So we've kind of realized that in the last year that is possible. So I'm like really happy to share some of that information. And what's most important is that it could be implemented immediately to somebody's business, and
Yeah.
people would be able to see results.
Cool. Now, your team has so much experience launching in so many different marketplaces. In your experience, which marketplace is like the easiest to launch in? As in, it doesn't cost that much money, and boom, you guys are on page one on the keywords that you want to, and crushing it.
I would say basically all non-English marketplaces, because you can beat the content so easily because a lot of sellers, they don't put a lot of effort. I mean, there are like people that use DeepL, that's like a fancier version of Google Translate, and it's still a tool, but it doesn't work that well. And still all of the like AI tools, and we've been testing some of them, it's fine. But like, what these tools do is like they don't stick to the original text. So it does make sense to build like copywriting, copy that doesn't base itself on anything. But if you have a seller and he's like, I want this information in it, I want you to focus on this. This is the brand's message. You don't get that when you build it in any of the tools, no matter how better they've become. Because now you have tools that like deliver 50 to 70% better results than what we had a couple of years ago, but it's still not that great. But sellers still seem to go that way, and that costs them a lot. And that's why they don't pay attention to their non-English content, because they're like, I don't understand this, so why should I care?
Yeah.
And 6 months later, after you launch your product, you get bad reviews, your sales stop, and it's most likely because of your content. And
Okay.
that's what happens in a lot of cases.
All right, now I'm going to read you. I mean, you probably know this list, but I'm going to read you the languages that, or not the languages, the marketplaces that Helium 10 now has the main functionality in, and then you tell me of the remaining ones, like which you think we should focus on most. So obviously we've got U.S., Canada, Mexico, Germany, Spain, Italy, France, UK, India, Netherlands, Australia, Japan, and then the most recent added one, which I'm not even sure if you knew about this, because at the time we're recording this, it hasn't even been announced yet, but it's Amazon UAE is our next marketplace that we have Magnet and Cerebro and Blackbox and things working. So of the remaining ones that I didn't mention, Singapore, Egypt.
Yeah, you have also Sweden and Poland, which are kind
Okay,
of
yeah.
interesting for sellers that expand. We've had a lot of inquiries for Poland. We haven't seen like a lot of sales there, but I'm expecting a lot from that marketplace. So Polish would be great as a language.
So you think that would be the number one that we don't have yet, but that you see the most potential in?
Right. Yeah, UAE is great because yesterday I was just like checking out the Helium 10's tool to see what's new and what's cool, and I didn't see UAE, so it's really really good because it's a good marketplace. Because for a lot of products, you just don't need translations. You target expats. You don't need a lot of redoings. They have like FBA as well, and also. It's good to see the volume of keywords that they're using on that marketplace, even though it's English. So basically, worst case scenario, you can just optimize keywords. You don't have to invest in Arabic if you don't want to. I mean, really depends on what your target audience is.
Okay, cool. Now, let's do a couple of our 30-second tips. So going back to Lazar, it doesn't have to be, I mean, it could be on TikTok. It could be on building a team, SOPs. What's a tip that you can give our sellers out there?
So one of the most recent things that I see that people are having problems with is like when they want to expand to TikTok, they have problems with the amount of videos. Use UGC. There is Creator Marketplace on TikTok, and that's the cheapest and the fastest way how to get hundreds of videos for like literally for free. Platform is absolutely free to use. You can give away just like a couple of units to creators, and you can use those videos for the Spark ads, and you can use them for your websites or whatever you want.
Love it. Love it. Yana, what about you?
I would say that smartwatch products are doing amazingly well in Germany and in the UK, are not doing that great in the US. So if you did not know this, and maybe that's your product or you're in that niche, I'm going to suggest you go to brand analytics and do the black box and do a deep dive and choose those marketplaces over the US, because that's going to make you more money.
Love it. Love it. All right. So what's, from now until Vegas in September, any travel for you guys? I mean, usually I live vicariously through both of your Instagram, but you guys are slacking lately because I haven't seen much exciting, skydiving adventures, that I'm used to from you guys.
Imagine that we decided to stay at home for 2 months for a change. Like first quarter of this year was pretty intense. We had like 17 trips in 3 months, and
Wow.
we're like, we need to slow down. So yeah, we're going to Barcelona.
For the affiliate world. Lazar is a keynote speaker on TikTok again. And then after that, I'm going to speak in Poland. And then we're doing Sell and Scale. And then after that, who knows? I mean, it's such an exciting time that you wake up and then you're like, yeah, we don't have anything booked. And then by 6 p.m., you're like, oh, I'm doing like 2 conferences, 3 trips and masterminds and stuff like that. But for now, like we're actually happy that we're at home and that we're like, you're sleeping in your own bed, like we haven't seen our friends in such a long time and family.
Yeah.
And so we're like really happy to kind of stay at one place for 2 months and maybe even get some sort of like routine. I don't know what that is, but people say it's good. So yeah, but I'm excited to be back on the road again. I always say like, oh, I can't wait to be home. And then 5 days later, I'm like, where are we going? So yeah, that's about to hit, in a couple of days, I'm going to be in that mode again, but it's good to be home sometimes.
Cool. So I had just told, Yana, I was like, hey, I hope, your team starts using the Helium 10 new features for UAE. Now, Lazar, for your team, you just reminded me, like, since you're doing TikTok and off Amazon advertising, make sure to use the new Helium 10 Amazon attribution links. So I know your team uses Helium 10 a lot, but and then anything you guys want us to develop, at Helium 10, let us know. Same thing. I'm talking to everybody else out there as well. All right. So, we've been talking about Sell and Scale here. So guys, if you're listening and you still don't have your ticket, make sure to go to h10.me/S3. Get your ticket to be able to listen to this dynamic duo here. And you could get $100 off of your ticket by using the code S3BS100. S3BS100 will save $100 off, and see Yana and Lazar in person, see them rocking out to Nelly, see them hanging out with Gary V. It's going to be an amazing time. So before then, how can people find both of you guys on the interwebs out there if they want to reach out to you for more help?
I just want to personally thank Helium 10 for throwing a Nelly concert for my birthday, which is on September 19th.
Oh, that was totally planned, I guess.
Yeah, so you guys will also have to be there for my birthday as well. So it's going to be a fantastic time. I mean, content is great, but I mean, come
wait
on.
a minute. Didn't we have another event and it was your birthday too or something like that? I remember you were like wearing a special dress that you had brought just for that. I was like, somehow
it was my birthday at a $1 billion summit in September.
$1 billion. Oh, because $1 billion seller summit. Okay, that's what it was. I was like, I don't know. Cassandra is showing too much favoritism here to her BFFs. I was about to say, okay, it was a little bit. It wasn't a Helium 10 event then. Okay, I got it.
No. Yeah, so you guys, if you wanna, if you wanna get any advice, or if you want to just talk to us or get a feedback free audit of any of the listings that are maybe not performing that well, or you're wondering if they could do better, you can reach out at info@ylt-translations.com. You can also add me on LinkedIn. I have tons of really good videos and content I always share, where I always point out the low hanging fruit of your listings of brands and stuff like that. So I really try to educate people on the topic, which is always that has always been very challenging for me, as people don't speak other languages.
Mhm.
But that's it. I'm always happy to help and talk about my favorite topic, the international marketplaces.
Awesome. And Lazar?
Yeah, for us, you can visit our recently redesigned website, sellersalley.com. If you need any kind of help regarding Amazon advertising, TikTok advertising, or any kind of like external traffic towards Amazon.
Awesome. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys. Seems like it's been forever. I mean, there was a time where I was seeing you guys every few weeks out there, but obviously things are different, these days with travel and stuff. But finally, things are getting back to normal. And as I say that, of course, I got COVID as I went to an Amazon trip. 2 years I was able to stay away from it, and then now finally it gets me.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
I thought COVID does not exist anymore.
Right, right. But I look forward to seeing you guys in person again. It's in September, and we'll see all you guys out there too. Bye-bye now.